And I think myself, and certainly HP would see, that the communities that are forming out of these, out of the digital age, will be very powerful buying communities for products going forward into the future. And people, I think, overlook to government to come up with the answers here. I think the role of government is to create the compelling proposition for companies to base here in Ireland. But I think the role of everybody in this room is to innovate and create around that, and to use that as the platform to build businesses that will serve the digital era.
I think you've got to take a look at the digital world. It's fundamentally different in many ways to a traditional business. In the digital world, your consumer is king. You know, we talked about this, and it was a trite word that we talked about in the 80s, the 90s, and the early part of the 21st century. Today, the consumer owns it. So ultimately what happens is you need about speed, flexibility, and adaptability. Your execution has got to be world class. You cannot be in a situation where you're thinking about something, talking about something. You need to move from concept to reality, because the feedback you're getting from your customer comes so quickly that if you're kind of getting stacked up and trying what you react to or what you don't react to, you'll create a mess. The ability in the digital world is it's a simplified distribution model, so you will figure out quickly whether there is usage or adoption. Once you get that level of ubiquity, you will then understand how your customer is interacting with your potential product, and then you build a revenue model around it. The traditional model of starting with your revenue model and your business model looking for customers is somewhat less relevant in the internet, in the digital world. It's get customers first.
I think there's a lot of fear out there amongst companies around the internet. What is happening? Everyone knows the travel agency industry. People have seen, Google come in and totally take a huge chunk of the advertising market, and they're very worried that this is going to happen to every industry. And I don't think there's a need to be afraid, because the internet, for most industries, is a huge, huge opportunity to make money, to scale faster, and to introduce efficiencies into your organization. So you have to look at internet as an opportunity and use it to improve your efficiencies internally and to make more sales, to connect better with consumers. If you don't do that, you will be out of business. And I think everyone looks at companies like Google and Facebook, which are natural global internet infrastructure companies, and think, well, I wish I thought of that, but there's nothing left. There's no ideas left. And I think that's just not true. And if you look at, let's say, there's certain models that are inherently local, like Daft. There's a Daft in every country in the world. There's not a global Daft player. There's also lots of, for me, I think there's a huge opportunity in e-commerce in Ireland. There's very few companies exploiting it. Recently, I was talking to a person who knows the founders of this New York-based company called Guilt Group. No one's ever heard, you probably haven't heard of it. It was set up in 2007, and what they do is a membership-based website that you sign up to, and you get emailed once a day with offers of luxury products for men, women, and children. And you have 36 hours to bid, and there's a reduction of 70%. So there's lots of benefits for the designers, because they literally sell out their entire stock in 36 hours, and consumers get 70% off. But the interesting thing is, these guys made $150 million last year. They're going to make $500 million this year. And people in the States haven't even heard of it. So this is set up by two women who just saw an opportunity in online retail. There's very few people doing that in Ireland, and it's inherently local. I don't see many e-commerce plays in Ireland, which is a shame.
No matter what size your business, I'm talking about Diageo and Guinness, but there are many examples in Ireland as well of people who are doing a great job on this. I talk a lot about a company down in Cork called Hairy Baby. It's one that I love because it's a really small business. The guy sells t-shirts online, and he's really embraced Facebook. He has, I think, around about 7,000 fans now. And what he does, the page is free. He does very, very little advertising with us, and I'm actually okay with that. But what he does is, he'll do fan-exclusive offers through this, and the engagement and the commentary that you get around this, so viral, so engaging, telling him about I love your product, I want to buy it. And again, this is not just in Ireland, this is globally, is just phenomenal to see. And that, I think, for all businesses of all sizes, is something that I think everyone needs to be switched on to and taking seriously.